What if Aubrey Marcus and the creepy doctor was supposed to trigger you? In this video, I'm going to be walking you through 10 powerful insights on why being triggered, especially by someone like Aubrey Marcus, isn't something to avoid or attack, but it's such a sacred opportunity to reclaim your discernment, your truth, and your spiritual sovereignty. If you're sick and tired of the dialogue about Aubrey Marcus, you're sick and tired of the drama, believe me, this is different. I've already had a video about polyamory and monogamy and spiritual discernment last week, and I wasn't going to talk about it any further, but I woke up today with this fire in my belly which needed to be expressed. And so today I'm going to be giving you 10 powerful activations that you need to hear, because there is no accident that you are listening to this video, especially if you're a light worker. And so I invite you to open your heart, to open your mind, and I also invite you to subscribe and leave your comments below, because I answer every single comment. Okay, here we go. So the very, very first point that I want to make, which is so important, we're going to go really deep here. There's going to be so many layers, but the first point is triggers are your divine activations. So what if Aubrey Marcus was supposed to trigger you? What if your discomfort wasn't a mistake, but a divine activation? Not because he's right, not because you are wrong, but because something in you is now ready to be seen. Because in this lifetime, we're not here to be liked. We're here to awaken. And awakening doesn't come through comfort, it comes through the crack, the friction, the rupture, the mirror that we didn't ask for, but we can't avoid. So what if this trigger was intentional? Not a mistake, but a spiritual activation that he was supposed to do. We're not here to stay comfortable. We are here to evolve. Number 2, and this is something that all light workers need to really be aware of, which is integrity. And personal integrity always needs to be checked, especially when you are leading others. So after I released my video on Aubrey, I received some intense commentary. People in the comments were calling him sick. They were calling him manipulative. Very, very few and far between. Most of the comments were absolutely incredible and insightful, and I love the value that was being added into this channel and into this discussion. And I promise you that something I will always do is respond to every single comment that you come up with, because we're all in this together. And I want to be completely transparent with you that when I started seeing those comments where people were calling him sick and manipulative and false light, I didn't want to respond to them because I wanted to people please. I thought, just leave it alone, don't stir the pot. I really want everybody in this community to feel free to express their truth, because truth is so important to me, and I don't want anyone to ever feel stifled that they can't say what is in their heart. That is something I hold so dear to me. But then last night, because I had responded to all the comments that were adding a lot of value, but I hadn't responded to the comments where people were actually name calling Aubrey. And I realized that not responding would have been people pleasing, and it's also inviting a different type of energy into this channel. And as I'm about to really give my voice to this channel after many years of being in the void, I really want to make sure that it's a safe and tight container where there is no energetic leakage. So it's my responsibility to make sure that I don't stop people from speaking their truth, that I don't put them down for speaking their truth, but that I respond in a way that is compassionate and firm in what I believe is a compassionate comment or a non-compassionate comment, if that makes sense. And so I would have been abandoning my own integrity just to avoid me feeling uncomfortable. And that's not what I'm here for. So if you're wondering what video I'm talking about, it's the video that I went on live last Sunday where I talked about polyamory, monogamy, and spiritual discernment. And I did present 12 points in a neutral perspective, and that's the one that I'm referring to. I will, when I finish, put the link down below this particular video. So integrity means saying what needs to be said, even if it's uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable for me to respond to those people. It's usually, I want people to feel comfortable. I want them to feel heard. I want them to feel seen. I don't want them to think that they can't speak their truth. And so it was hard for me to say, thank you for adding to this discussion, but this channel is not for attacking others. It's not for labeling others. It's not for name calling. I really want to be firm in what energy I'm holding in every part of my world. So number 3, the purpose of triggers. Triggers are sacred flares pointing to unresolved pain, and what an opportunity we have when we are triggered. They are not shameful. They are magical, divine portals. We didn't come to this planet to be comfortable and to stay comfortable. We came here to grow. And often the people who activate us the most deeply, whether they're in our personal life or someone that we see online, are the ones who carry that key to our evolution. And those triggers are not always gentle. Those people don't get every word right, but they reflect something in us that's just ready to rise and ready to be cracked open. And so Aubrey Marcus might not be your teacher, but your response to him is. The person who triggered you may not be the lesson, but your reaction, that's the gold, that's the sacred curriculum that we are all here for. In my new book that is going to be published early next year, I have a whole chapter on triggers because they are so powerful. And I just want to remind you that as I'm speaking, I've got 6 more insights to share with you. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment because I want to hear you. The reason that this video was created was in response to your comments from the video that I did last Saturday. This is last weekend rather. This is a collective community that I am dedicated to, and I want to hear you no matter what your opinion is. If you're triggered with something that I'm saying, please tell me. We're all here to learn. We're all here together. We're all part of the same soul family. There is no mistakes that you are looking at this video. I really believe that. If you are now coming into my space at this time of the journey, you need to be here. You need to engage. I need to read your comments. I need to respond. There's something going on between me, the speaker, between you, the listener. And I know that I'm speaking to leaders. I know I'm speaking to light workers. I know that I'm speaking to the person that is ready to shine their light like never before. That person is you, my love. And so please engage with me. Okay, we've got 6 more to get through. Number 4, soul contracts and collective roles. So this is really juicy. I'm very excited about talking about this when it dawned on me this morning which is, what if this was all designed, which is what I firmly believe. Now, what if we zoomed even further? What if Aubrey's rise to admiration was meant to happen for a reason? What if Aubrey's path, his language, his vulnerability, his embodiment of freedom and expansion was meant to draw people in, to create trust to begin with, to soften resistance? What if he was meant to have the platform he was meant to have? What if he was meant to be put on a pedestal by so many people? And what if, now this is the clincher that I love, what if the next phase, which is his relationship choices and this controversial podcast and the discomfort that was felt by so many, was not a betrayal of that journey, but it was the second act of a soul contract that was designed to wake us up even further? Because there is no such thing as a spiritual awakening and then you just stay awakened at that level. There are so many layers that we need to awaken to, that we need to keep waking up, keep waking up, keep waking up to the next layer, the next layer, the next layer. What if it created trust in that first act in order to allow that later rupture to hit us even deeper? So first, adulation, pedestal, we love him, we like him, he's so vulnerable, he's so likable, he's so nice, such a nice guy. And then discernment. So soul contracts play out on personal and collective levels. Every single person who's on the world stage is playing out something that we all need to learn from, something, okay? And so number 5, oh, I love this one. This one gets me really excited. Number 5, the creepy doctor archetype. This is a classic. What about the man beside Audrey, who was orchestrating the whole thing that they're all getting therapy from? Alana, Audrey, and the creepy doctor. What if the creepy doctor is playing his part intentionally? He doesn't know he's playing his part. He's just naturally a creepy doctor. But he's playing his part the way it was supposed to be played. The creepy doctor archetype, that strange energetic imprint that made so many people go, ew, yuck, squirm, pedophile background and all the rest of it. I didn't even know about his history, about the pedophile background. I just heard him speak and I felt this cringe in my body and I was like, ugh, yuck. And the moment I saw him speak and the way he ran that whole podcast, I was like, there's something really off about this energy. Because why does somebody need a doctor to justify and validate their path and their choices? So it's not necessarily the doctor who knows that he has this divine path. I believe it's from a higher orchestration, because his role, the creepy doctor, was so exaggerated, so uncomfortable, so on the nose that we were finally forced to stop bypassing everything. We couldn't bypass our nervous system anymore. We had to believe the ick in our body. We had to believe the yuckiness that we felt. Because if that creepy doctor wasn't there, maybe we wouldn't have been so discerning about what was really going on. Maybe we wouldn't trust what was going on inside our body. And so we needed that creepy doctor to deliberately make us uncomfortable, not to traumatize us, but to shake us awake, to make us feel what the nervous system knows for sure before the mind decides it. And these archetypes, they activate that visceral discernment. so that we're not just relying on intellectual analysis, but we're actually feeling what truth feels like in our body, so that we can stop overriding our intuition. And when somebody is speaking in spiritual jargon or code, we feel the truth, we know the truth, and we listen to our center. So sometimes the soul has to turn the volume all the way up, so that we can't ignore it anymore. We just can't. Now, what I'm going to be talking about, I've still got 4 more insights that I want to discuss in this video. I'm going to directly bring in the commentary that some people brought into my video last weekend or through the week, and I'm going to address it. And first of all, I want you to know that if this is your comment that I am directly addressing, this is not, please know this, this is not to denigrate you, this is not to make you feel small, this is not to say that your comment wasn't good enough. It's fantastic. All comments are fantastic. I welcome everything, because it takes the conversation where it's supposed to go. And if you didn't put these comments in my feed, I wouldn't be able to teach these teaching points right now. So you were supposed to do it. So thank you to every single person who took the time to give me those comments. I was so really honored that you took the time to write such large, insightful comments on my video from last weekend. So one woman wrote, "It triggered me a lot. Rage and wounds around false spirituality. I can't be tolerant when people are being hurt in the name of evolution." So this is obviously a person who's not silly. She's not dumb. She's articulate, and her pain is real, and her pain deserves to be acknowledged. But when that pain is turned into projection, when we label, when we attack, when we diminish somebody else's God particle within them, we lose the lesson that trigger came to offer. Can we all feel that? Like, I feel like this is so important. I feel like I need to repeat that. When you are triggered, your pain is real. Let's get real about this. Your pain deserves to be acknowledged. But when that pain is turned into projection, when we label, when we attack, when we diminish somebody else's worth, we lose the lesson that the trigger came to offer. That is such an important point. I can't tell you how important that is. Massive, massive continual life lesson for me. In my book, which is going to be published early next year, I have so many personal examples relating to this exact point. But being triggered doesn't mean that you were wrong. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that something inside you is asking to be healed, to be claimed, to be seen, to be brought into the light. And what a golden opportunity that people like Aubrey Marcus and the creepy doctor give us in these circumstances. Now, there's another comment here from another person, and they said, "I do not mince words." This is what was said in the comments. "I don't mince words. Spiritual psycho language does no one any favors." That's okay. I get that. We all have our breaking point, but let's also ask this question. Is this directness or is this defensiveness? Because when we speak from projection, we shut down dialogue. And spiritual ego disguises superiority as clarity. So is this clarity, or is this an egoic need to feel superior? Because Spiritual ego is just as tricky as the unconscious shadow. It hides behind righteousness all the time. But if your truth needs to hurt someone else in order for it to land, it's not coming from alignment. It's coming from a wounding. Because true clarity is calm. It's not combative. It doesn't attack. Number 7. I love this one. I love this point. Truly listening to all perspectives and not staying rigid in one. Now, this is coming from a comment that really helped me. I love this comment. Someone else challenged my words, and you know who you are, saying that I might be disempowering women by suggesting that they're abandoning themselves in spiritual relationships if we're not believing that they are actually saying the truth. I really love this comment. I really, really loved it because it invited me to listen to another perspective without having to defend my position. Because if we feel like we have to defend our position, we are not at the 0 point. Everything needs to be at the 0 point, not here and not here. I didn't defend myself. I listened, I read her comment, and I just took it in. That is true what she said. She had a truth, I had a truth. I listened to another view and came back to the center, recognizing that there is a center point. That's what it means to hold truth without turning it into a sword. No collapse, no defense, just centered truth. If you are ever finding yourself that you are so committed to a particular position, force yourself to listen to the opposite position. Force yourself. If you're on Google and you're always clicking on one perspective, force yourself to click on another perspective so the algorithm starts to balance, so that you are presented with the other perspective. Force yourself to listen to the other perspective and come back to the center. We need to stop this belief that everything is right and everything is wrong, that there is good and there is evil. It's all just an experience. Everything is an experience. Number 8, the mirror is the message. So what if the discomfort that you felt watching that podcast was never, ever about Aubrey, was never, ever about Valana, was never, ever about Alana, and it wasn't even about the creepy doctor? What if it was about a part of you that's so tired of overriding your body? A part that's ready to speak, to stand, to stop looking outside of yourself for spiritual authority. Because maybe Aubrey or the creepy doctor, they're not the gurus, but they're not the villains either. They're just the catalysts. It's not about them. The trigger is not about them. It's about the parts of you that's now ready to be seen. And that discomfort is not a sign to shut down. It's a sign to go in. There is no going around. There's only going in. It's the first thing that my shaman said to me when I had my spiritual awakening, when I had my first plant medicine ceremony. There's no going around. There's only going in. I didn't know what that meant until I did it. If you know, you know. So Aubrey may not be the guru or the villain, and even the creepy doctor is not the villain. They are just the mirror. Okay, this is big. We're going on to number 9, and this one is huge, because if you're listening to this video, you are a light worker. You're ready to shine your light. You're ready to be seen. The collective is ready to be initiated. I believe we are in a collective initiation. And as I'm speaking these words, there is just this huge amount of emotion in my body. The spiritual teacher can no longer be put on a pedestal. Nobody, no spiritual teacher can be put on a pedestal. The truth can no longer be outsourced. Your body can no longer be overridden in favor of eloquent branding, in favor of incredible B-roll, in favor of AI magic. There is so much noise in the world. You've got to stop outsourcing your power. You've got to start believing in the truth and the power of who you really are. And yes, it's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's disorienting, but it's divine. Every trigger, every controversy, every archetype that makes us cringe with yuckiness is getting played out with precision in this magical divine universe. It's all magical, so that we can remember the truth of who we are. Pedestals are collapsing. Spiritual sovereignty is rising. We are no longer outsourcing our inner truth. These events are playing out exactly as they need to. And I have a speech that I gave at an event called, what was it called exactly? It was Everything is Happening for You, No Exceptions. And I'll put the link directly below in the comments. Please watch that speech. It's only 16 minutes. And I give very real examples of events that happened in my life where I thought that the worst was playing out, where I was brought to my knees, but thank God they happened. I needed to be brought to my knees. They were playing out for me, not against me. So this is number 10, which is the invitation to you. The next time that you are triggered, pause. Not to bypass the trigger, but to reclaim your power. Ask yourself, what is this showing up about me? What part of me still wants to be rescued? What part of me still wants to be liked? Am I speaking from my truth or from my wound? You don't need to defend anyone, but you also don't need to destroy anyone. Because we're not here to avoid triggers, we're here to transmute them, to alchemize them into discernment, into clarity, into sovereignty. And if Aubrey Marcus was put on this earth at this time to trigger you, wonderful, thank you, let him. Because that might be the trigger that you've been waiting for to get to the next level of evolution. So ask yourself, what is this showing about me? Am I reacting from ego or from soul? Can I speak from clarity instead of attack? We're not here to avoid triggers. We're here to alchemize them. We're here to rise up. We're here to speak our truth. We're here to live our truth. We're here to embody our light. We're here to shine our light. We're here to let go of our small self. We're here to rise to the truth of who we really are. If this video resonated with you, I've actually made this promise to myself that I'm going to do a daily truth drop. So please subscribe and let's engage. Let's discuss. Let's add value. We're all in this together. We're all walking ourselves back home to the truth. And always, always remember, always, always, always living truth. Sending you so much love. All your comments are welcomed and all your comments will be responded to. Tell me what resonated. Tell me what didn't. Add value to the conversation. And see you next time. Sending you so much love.